Have you ever noticed that after 50, some people just seem colder, more distant, more quiet, and everyone around them just assumes that's who they are? But it's not. There's a real reason behind it. And if you pay attention to the signs I'm about to show you, you'll understand something about yourself or someone you love that you may have never realized before. Because what looks like coldness is often the quietest form of self-protection that exists. And most people confuse this with not caring, when it's actually the opposite. It's caring too much. It's having felt so deeply for so many years that the body learned to shut down before the pain could arrive again. And that changes everything. Because once you understand this mechanism, you stop judging, you stop demanding, and you start seeing what's really behind the silence. Let's begin. The first sign: the person stops sharing what they feel. It's not that they don't feel anything. They feel everything. But at some point in life, they learned that talking about their feelings didn't change anything. They opened up once, maybe twice, and the response they got was silence, or worse, judgment. So they made a quiet decision, a decision no one saw. They decided to carry it alone. And now, years later, when someone asks them, "Are you okay?" they always say the same thing: "I'm fine." And they say it so naturally that everyone believes them. But pay attention to this: that "I'm fine" is not an answer. It's a wall. And behind that wall, there is a world of things they never told anyone. The second sign: they avoid deep conversations. Not because they don't like talking, but because deep conversations require vulnerability. And vulnerability, for someone who has been hurt too many times, feels dangerous. So they keep things light. They talk about the weather, about the news, about other people, but never about themselves. And if someone tries to go deeper, they change the subject, or they make a joke, or they just go quiet. And most people don't notice, but now you will. The third sign: they help everyone but never ask for help. This is more common than you think. There's a person in your life right now, probably over 50, who is always there for others, always listening, always solving, always giving. But when it's their turn to need something, they disappear. They don't call, they don't ask, they handle it alone. And people around them think, "Oh, they're just strong." But that's not strength, that's a learned survival pattern. Because at some point, asking for help meant being disappointed. And they decided, without even realizing it, that the safest option was to never need anyone. But here's the detail almost no one catches: that silence is not peace. It's exhaustion disguised as independence. The fourth sign: they react less and less to things that used to bother them. Someone cancels plans last minute. They say nothing. Someone says something hurtful. They let it go. Someone forgets something important. They don't even mention it. And from the outside, it looks like patience. It looks like maturity. But behind that calm face, something different is happening. They stopped reacting because they stopped expecting. And when a person stops expecting from others, it means their emotional door has already been closed. Not with anger, with tiredness. The fifth sign: they prefer being alone more than ever before. And this is where people get confused. Because there's a difference between enjoying solitude and needing solitude to feel safe. A person who shut down emotionally doesn't choose to be alone because they love it. They choose to be alone because being around people requires energy they no longer have. Every social interaction becomes a performance. Smile, nod, pretend everything is fine. And after a while, the performance becomes too heavy. So they stay home. Not because the world outside is bad, but because the world inside needs silence to survive. Now pay close attention to this next one, because this is where things go deeper. The sixth sign: they feel disconnected from their own emotions. This is something that almost no one talks about. There are people over 50 who have been carrying so much for so long that they don't even know what they feel anymore. Someone asks them, "What do you want?" And they genuinely don't know. Not because they're confused, but because they spent so many years focused on what everyone else needed that they forgot to check in with themselves. And that disconnection didn't happen overnight. It happened slowly. year after year, layer after layer, until one day they looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the person staring back. Because behind that behavior, there is a psychological pattern that changes everything. It's called emotional numbness, and it's not a weakness. It's what happens when a person's emotional system has been overloaded for too long. The brain literally turns down the volume on feelings to protect itself. It's not a choice. It's a survival response, and that's what makes this so important to understand. The seventh sign. They smile, but their eyes don't. You've seen this before. Someone laughing at a dinner table, going through all the motions, saying the right things. But something feels off. There's no light behind the smile. And that's because the smile isn't connected to joy anymore. It's connected to habit. It's what they've trained themselves to do so that no one asks questions, so that no one gets too close, so that the wall stays up. And this is one of the saddest signs, because it means the person has become so good at hiding their pain that even the people closest to them can't see it. The eighth sign. They have a hard time accepting love, not because they don't want it, but because love, for someone who has been emotionally hurt, comes with risk. When someone says, "I love you," their first instinct isn't warmth, it's doubt. How long until this changes? How long until they leave? How long until I get hurt again? And so they keep a distance, even from the people who genuinely care, not because they don't trust the other person, but because they don't trust the situation. They've seen too many good things fall apart, and their emotional system decided it was safer to feel nothing than to feel loss again. And now, the ninth sign, and this is the one that hits the hardest. They convince themselves they're okay like this. They tell themselves, "This is just who I am now. I don't need much. I don't need deep connections. I'm fine on my own." And they say it so many times that they start to believe it. But deep down, there's a part of them that still remembers. A part that remembers what it felt like to be fully open, to trust without fear, to love without calculating the risk. And that part is not gone. It's just buried under years of disappointment, under years of silence, under years of carrying everything alone. And here's what I want you to understand. If you recognized yourself in any of these signs, it doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means you've been through a lot. It means your emotional system did what it had to do to keep you standing. And that's not weakness. That's one of the most powerful forms of emotional survival there is. But here's the truth no one tells you. The same wall that protected you from pain is now keeping out the things you actually need. Connection, rest, being seen. And the first step to changing that isn't dramatic. It's small, it's noticing. It's realizing that the way you shut down wasn't a personality trait. It was a response to what life threw at you. And responses can be changed. Not overnight, but slowly. One conversation at a time. One moment of honesty at a time. If this made something click for you, hit that like button. It really helps this video reach people who need to hear this. And subscribe if this kind of content speaks to you. I want to ask you something. Which of these 9 signs hit closest to home for you? Tell me in the comments, because I guarantee you're not the only one. And sometimes, just knowing that someone else feels the same way is enough to start opening that door again. But there's something else I didn't cover in this video. There's a behavior that shows up after someone has been emotionally shut down for years. And it's something almost no one connects to emotional protection. But once you see it, you'll never look at that person the same way again. That's coming in the next video.